Hey, welcome to Keight Krafts. I'm Kate. Today I'd like to share with you another hashtag inspired card. Let's get started. So to preface this video, I have been sitting on it for a while. I had all of these gel printed panels that I'd had, and I thought I would use one of these for another spooky birthday card. If you watched my video for Get Creeping last month, it was a spooky filled little birthday card because Halloween, right? And I'm just not getting enough of the Halloween spooky birthday cards. This one isn't so much a Halloweeny, but it's kind of spooky, I guess you could say, a little different than your typical birthday card. But I used the Let's Get Lizicle birthday die, and I thought I would use the smaller version of it in this set. And this, I think, is a Delusions stamp. It's a red rubber stamp. So I've taken out the little foam insert for my mini Misty here, and I'm going to head and stamp this on. You can kind of see that I used it to lift some of that ink from the gel plate print. I don't know if I even have footage of making these. I think this was just one of those things where I got bored and decided to do a whole bunch of panels. And this, of course, was before I had actually gotten the VersaFine Onyx Black ink. So I'm having to stamp this thing a whole bunch of times, and I think at this point I hadn't even re-inked my ink on 3 because I wasn't exactly sure what I was doing here. It was just kind of dry, kind of smashing it down and re-inking it and re-inking it and re-inking it, and yeah, eventually I get there. So once I'm satisfied with how much I've actually inked up this stamp, again, VersaFine Onyx Black ink probably would have been a better choice for this one. I have yet to try it with the red rubber. We are going to take this panel and we're going to trim it down a little bit. So I'm just kind of edging it out just a smidge to get a clean edge, and then I'm going to try and figure out where I want the center of the card to be, because I kind of want that cat off to the side. So I'm just going around inch by inch, and this is going to be I want to say I end up doing a 5 1/4 by 4, or if it was 3 1/4 by 5, I can't remember. But judging by the cut, I do end up doing a bit of a matting with it. So again, in my last video, I had drawn inspiration actually from this card with the Distress Embossing Pens, and I'm just kind of going over the outline of the cat with it. Again, these things are a lot of fun. I kind of want to explore a little more of these pens and see what other fun stuff that I can come up with. There's one that's got a thicker fine tip, and then one that's got like a bullet fine tip, kind of like similar to the Ohuhus, I guess. But yeah, I'm not very versed in these pens, but they are a lot of fun because they are juicy. I don't know what they'll be like when they dry out, but I've had these for a while and I've only used them maybe 5 or 6 times. So we've got that black embossing powder on there, and we are going to go ahead and give that just a slight little dust. And then I'm going to come back and just touch up those dry bits and then go ahead and sprinkle some more on there. So I thought, I would just do one side, but then I'm just going to add in a little bit more because why not, right? I mean, you could have easily did some embossing powder with this and some black embossing ink with some embossing powder. Do you know what I mean? I hope you know what I mean, because I'm kind of I'm kind of losing it here. So yeah. Anyway, so I've done a squiggle, and I'm going to add some more of this black embossing powder just to kind of give it a little bit dimension and a little extra, because I don't know, pink, black, and purple are just really cute colors together, and they satisfy my dark little heart, if you will. So we're hitting it with that heat tool, making sure everything's all melty, and I love the shine of the black embossing powder. It's kind of a great alternative to that black vinyl-y looking paper that I like to use quite a bit. and it just kind of ties things in together, if you will. But I don't think yeah, I do end up using some of it for this card as a panel. But again, this has been, I think I made this card back in March, and it was supposed to be intended for a Get Creeping, but all things happened at once, and I didn't get a chance to get to it, so yeah, I figured I'd share it with you now. So we've got the clear glaze jelly roll pen, and I'm just adding a little bit more dimension. This is another method you could do if you've got finer lines in black ink. This also kind of gives it a bit of an embossing look. So this is like a different way that you could give a faux embossing look instead of using the powder and the ink embossed ink and whatnot. So just grab a clear pen for the, not the clear pen, but a clear glazed jelly roll pen, and you can get that little bit of an embossing look to it. So next we are going to go in with some Wink of Stella. Now I end up squeezing it a little too hard and adding a little too much into it. I honestly can't remember which colors I used on the gel plate. I probably used some Lawn Fawn inks because it doesn't look like they're really going too far with, you know, it being wet and all. I do blend just a little bit, I noticed at the end of the video, but this ends up drying back a little bit and giving it a more of a washed look, which is kind of neat. So again, I'm just kind of going over all of the bits inside the cat to give it a bit of a shine, and it looks really super glossy because it just ends up using way too much in it, but it ends up drying, and I liked the end results to this. So once we're done with that, we'll get that to dry, and then I've got these bubbles from, I want to say it was like an Avery Elle set. I've used this before in a birthday card I did for Liz from Let's Get Lizicle. I used like I think it was like the keyholes from Whimsy, and I used I think it was Avery Elle. I don't know, I'd have to look again. But I ended up using these bubbles from the Cauldron set that I have, and I just thought they were a nice added touch. This is some holographic paper that Jamie had sent me from Inky and Scrappy, and I love it. Something with the vinyl black and the holographic, it just, I don't know, there's something about it I just absolutely love. So there's no rhyme or reason really to what I'm doing in this card. It was kind of more of like letting the feels take me kind of thing. So we're going to add some tape, double-sided tape, I should say, to the back of this card panel, and we'll go ahead and add some liquid glue for some double stick. I end up struggling a little bit with the glue because, again, it's been a minute since I've played and made cards, and I'm trying to be a little bit better with posting, but it, you know, sometimes time gets away from me, and yeah, you can't do all the things at once. Cloning devices don't exist. Otherwise, there'd be like 20 different Keits hanging out in the same house trying to do all the things. So again, we're going to go in with the double-sided tape runner, and we'll add some more glue just to add some immediate stick and some long hold stick, just because I never know how long these cards are going to sit around for. So once we've got the adequate amount of glue on our panel, we'll go ahead and line everything up so you get that nice contrasting black with the holographic, and it really ties into that embossed black. So once we're done that, we're going to go ahead and try something a little bit different. We're hitting the holographic paper with some anti-static powder, and then we're taking that tiny birthday from the Happy Birthday set from Let's Get Lizicle, and we're going to try a little bit of black embossing powder on that to see how it handles, because I hadn't really yet tried embossing powder on the holographic paper, and I was quite pleased with how it turned out, because this doesn't have a little miniature die and shadow die. It just has the shadow die. It just has the cutout for the Happy Birthday stamp, and I ended up cutting out the Happy Birthday die a couple of times so I get a little bit of dimension. So that's what I'm doing here with some thicker cardstock and gluing them together, and then almost like having an ephemera piece. And then once I'm happy with the lining up of that, I'm going to take a black alcohol ink marker. Now make sure that your glue is not seeping out and it is dry so you don't end up getting glue on your markers, but I mean, most of my Copics at this point have dried out quite a bit and I've lost quite a few, and I need to try and reach more for my oh-hoo-hoos, but I've been a little lax with my card making videos, and the cards that I have been making have been more puzzle piecing together die cuts instead of stamping and coloring, which I do want to get back to eventually, but eventually I will get there. So we've got a little bit of glue on our base there. We're going to glue that holographic happy birthday. Make sure everything is mashed down and I'm happy with that. And then we will go ahead and kind of get an idea of where we want that. So we'll add a little bit more glue to the background there, and then we'll go ahead and plop that onto our card. And I just really think this card turned out quite cute. So now to add a little bit of more detail, so I've gone ahead in with some high supply black shiny stars to kind of go with the black embossing powder and the vinyl black matte of the cardstock that we used there, and I really like how all of this came together. It's sort of like a mixed media kind of, I don't know how to explain it. I guess it would be mixed media because I did use a jelly plate panel that I created, and we did some stamping and some embossing, and then we used some gel pens, or glaze pens I should say. So here you have my finished card. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Have you guys tried getting on the Get Creeping with Halloween? Do you like Halloween cards? I really like the Halloween-esque vibe and the spooky vibe, so I have no problem with doing these cards. Anyway, thanks again, guys, for tuning in. I always appreciate you stopping by, saying hi, leave a comment, all that fun stuff. And as always, thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care.